Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Acting skills aren't just for actors. When I lived in Tennessee before I came to Michigan, I tried my hand at a little bit of acting. I was doing some film, TV, commercial work, sort of as extras in the background and some small roles. I would like to share with you today some of the things that I learned that I think we can actually apply here at the Commission or in our personal lives, and some tips that might be useful to us all in 3 ways. The first one is improv, the second one is body language, and the third one is timing. So for improv, that really is all about stepping in somebody else's shoes. How is that improv? Well, if you put yourself in somebody else's position, you have to react the way they would react, and you have to think like them. You can't just say to yourself, I'm going to act like this. You have to be this. You have to be the person. So I'm going to show you a little video clip of a show that I was doing for Homicide Hunter. And what I had to do is I had to be a victim. Well, how are you a victim? They give you one line to say, and then they say, well, you can go ad-lib and practice off of each other. And so my husband's trying to run me over with a truck. My line is, park it yourself. But let's see how this plays out in terms of improv. The truck incident. Here we go.
It's too small. Just drive off again.
I'm not going cross country just for a parking space.
Park in your step. You know what? I hope you drop dead.
She can tell the church to cross in front of the vehicle.
Honey, so you get my husband laughing in the background when he's watching the clip. But anyway, the idea here is there's more than just your line when you react with people. And you have to think like the person. I was really afraid, and he was going to run me down. You could see in the body language, in the things that we do as we improvise a role, they tell you a few things when they give you an acting job, and you have to sort of make it up as you go. Don't we do that at work and in our everyday lives anyway? We sort of make it up as we go. So we want to be able to be better listeners, and I would just add at this point that when you do table topics, you can practice improv, speaking on your feet. And that's the kind of thing that will help you to react and be in the moment. The thing that you have to also do along the way, and we know this in Toastmasters, is body language. We practice it in some of our speeches. There's a study that Albert Moravian did, and he said 7% of our message is conveyed with words, the rest of it with body language and tone. Well, it was misconstrued. A lot of leadership development people run with that, and they say it's 7% words, the rest of it is all your body language. Well, really, the truth is, if you're trying to convey information, not so much. You've got to have some words. But if it's an emotion or an attitude that you're trying to convey, then yeah, only 7% of it is words. So we're going to see a little clip of a gun commercial that I did where I had to have only one line again, but I had to convey what I was thinking with my body language. Granny the gunner is what we're going to look at. Let's see what she does more than the one line that she has about her husband's guns that she has to get rid of.
I don't know what I'm going to do with all these guns Billy left me. Well, have you ever thought about taking up hunting? Actually, you need to take them to Southeastern Armory.
Southeastern Armory, a trusted place to sell your weapon.
Yeah. So you see in the body language, there's some attitude, right? She's flipping her hair. She's concentrating on getting that deer. There's a lot of facial expressions. And then in the end, did she really care about being a hunter? No, she just wanted to get rid of those guns and have some money. And you see the smile and different conveyance of the message with her body language as she goes. And the thing about that in terms of acting is we also need to know at work how this happens. If you see somebody with their arms crossed, you can tell that they're maybe a little defensive. And if they're not having eye contact, whatever, there are things you can do to diffuse some of that so your communication goes better. And one of the things you can do is mirror their body behavior. So like if they're going like this, and then you go like that, believe it or not, it makes it more comfortable with the person. If you smile at them and are more welcoming with your gestures, it helps them to relax. The goal is to get them to relax. When you go to an acting job, the first thing they do is they say, oh, here's the coffee over here, here's the sodas. They put you at ease so that you're not worried about the line you got to deliver. You are comfortable. And so we want to focus on making each other comfortable through our body language and our efforts beyond just the words that we say. Finally, the third point here is timing. Alan Alda, who was in MASH, many of you have seen a zillion episodes of that, I'm sure. He actually started the Center for Communication Science at Stony Brook, New York, and he tries to teach scientists how to communicate. You know how he does it? He has them practice improvisation that actors do. So he'll put them in a room, and these people are like usually introverts, but they have to practice. He gives them a role to play, and they have to feed off of each other. The idea is that timing isn't waiting so you can say what you want to say. It's not waiting for a 3-second pause so you can deliver a punchline. Timing isn't waiting. Timing is going through something with the person. You need to be able to experience it with them. An example in his illustration, he has a grandson that asked him, what are those spikes on this tree, Grandpa? And Grandpa, being the scientist that he is, he says, oh, here's my chance to talk about evolution. So 45 minutes later, he's giving this kid a dissertation. The next day, the grandson asked somebody, well, I don't know about this science fact. And they said, go ask Grandpa. And the little boy said, I'm not making that mistake again. Yeah. He knew that the timing was off. He didn't want 3 hours worth of an explanation, so he didn't ask Grandpa. But we have to be aware of that with each other in our timing with one another and make sure that we're giving the appropriate answer to the appropriate question. We're not belaboring it. So you need to try your hand at improvisation. And improvisation, I suggest table topics. Try your hand at body language, which you know you practice in your speeches. And finally, timing. The whole thing is take the time to listen, because acting skills are not just for actors. Madam Toastmaster.